Why the hell not, I guess, right?
Okay, Tango and Cash, just don't wreck my van.
Yeah, don't wreck my van.
Okay.
All right, I'm recording.
All right, okay.
It's recording, and we are ready to roll, I think. Yep, we are. Here we go.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
When I was a boy, I used to run to his office. The guys liked to kid me, running to a dentist. But he was some dentist. His name was Dr. Bran, and he always let me come 5 minutes early just so I could see his lab. And he'd let me touch things and tell me about them. I used to get so excited, I'd tell Dr. Bran I was going to be a dentist when I grew up.
Distaste for your sloppy ways.
The morning stream. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to TMS, the morning stream. It is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020. I'm Scott. He's Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Scott.
I think I got all the official data out there.
Right, and chat room, again, we've proven it. You guys don't know what to do in chat when we play the Bo Schwartz version of the theme song.
Yeah, what's up with you guys?
Work on that. We need, we've got the moan and scream. We've got TTTTMMMSSS. But you guys need something for this one. And
yeah.
I thought it was going to be something with T and the M is like devil horns or something like that.
Oh yeah, do that. Like Mashed Potatoes did right there. See that?
Mashed Potatoes did it. Yes, exactly.
All right, I think that's the answer. Do some sort of symbol like that. It's hard to make a guy like I don't know. You can't really do an air guitar. You can't really do a headbang.
Right. So yeah, there we go. Drenched Wildfire. So it's T and then the M with the devil horns. S. Whoops, I did the devil horns wrong. Didn't hold the right fingers together.
Yeah.
Sorry if I just, I don't know, gave a lewd gesture in some cultures. I don't know.
He might have. You never know.
Might have. I don't know.
No one ever warns us about these things. We don't know when we're being lewd.
Yeah.
Love that
term.
So,
Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian.
We've got a new child in our house that requires daily care, daily attention.
What?
Yes.
What's this about? Tell me more.
So, Nicole, this weekend, we drove by Nicole and Mark's house.
Oh, now I know.
Did not see them.
Yeah.
But they left a present on the porch, a bouncing baby bottle of starter, of sourdough starter.
Flaming bag of poo. Oh, starter.
That is this thing. Right. This is like it's an ordeal, right? Because it's not just a matter of, all right, open the jar, dump some flour, some water in there. No, you've got to actually open the jar, dump out a majority of the starter that's in there.
Yeah.
What I do is actually, and there's probably a better way of doing this, but I dump the rice into the thing. No, I dump half a cup of starter into a measuring cup, and then I add half a cup of lukewarm water and a cup of flour, and then I dump it all back into. I stir it up, and then I dump it all back into the jar.
Okay.
And you have to do this daily.
Oh.
Actually, they recommend you do it twice a day, every 12 hours.
Why? I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was daily.
Do that.
I didn't know it was daily at all. I thought it was like I thought just once you had it, it grew until you. I don't know, until you put flour in there and then you made a thing.
Yeah, no, it's you have to keep dealing with the sourdough starter. It requires more care than an actual human child, I believe. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've had a live human child in this house, but
good Lord. Changing its little sour diaper every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well,
you could put it in the fridge and do it once a week. But then you don't get the same, you don't have the frequency that you can use it.
Oh, I see. You'd have to take it out and let it...
It deactivates it. Right. Exactly.
Right. It cryogenically freezes the little living bits.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm so bad at bread, except eating it. I'm real good at eating it, but terrible at making it.
I hear Oprah loves bread.
Oh, she loves
bread. I love bread.
Dump the rice into the thing.
There you go.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Actually, do I even have that Oprah thing? I probably do. Don't I? I'm sure I have her saying.
Did you ever get that one?
I don't know. Let's see if I've got it. Oh yeah, here it is.
I love bread.
Bread. Look under your chair. You've got sourdough starter under your chair, and you've got sourdough starter under your chair.
Yeah. And when are you going to make your first loaf? When's the plan? What do you do there?
This weekend.
Yeah. It takes about.
And apparently, you can turn the rest into buns or pancakes or waffles. There's a bunch of recipes available for the quote unquote discarded starter that's not fully activated.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So you can
things.
make it to make. I'm trying to imagine this. So that makes sense, like sourdough pancakes or sourdough whatever.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that sounds so good. Yeah, Taylor makes brownies out of it. That's the thing she did.
Oh,
and
those are good.
And they're really good. And there's super low sugar, a little bit of chocolate. It's the kind of thing I can eat. It's not too bad if I eat a little bit of that, a little square of that. It's not too much of the
Still
sugar.
a little sugar, but not a lot of sugar.
Yeah, not a lot of sugar. Still low on the shugs. But no, that's great. I can't wait to see what you make. You should chronicle this and put it up on.
I'm going to. Yeah.
The social media, as the kids say. Actually, the adults say.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a good way to do this where like I have 2 jars and I basically dump the rice in the thing, dump half a cup of starter into the currently empty jar, and then add the stuff to that, as opposed to doing the whole measuring cup business halfway through it. Like.
Sure. I know.
And then I've got the other jar that I can use right away for stuff.
Yeah, that's not bad. Have a little parallel thing going like that.
Yeah.
It's like having kids 3 or 4 years apart, so one of them can babysit the younger one or do chores.
It's like what the idea my CEO had at one point when I worked at the sales presentation software company. He wanted to have 2 dishwashers installed in his kitchen. And what he would do is, as he used a dish, he'd pull it out of the clean dishwasher, use it, and then put it into the dirty dishwasher.
Wow.
And never have to put dishes into a cabinet. And he basically thought that he used everything in the right proportions over the course of several days, that the clean dishwasher would be empty by the time the full dishwasher got washed. You know what I'm saying?
I see. So that he would be out of one and full of the other.
Right, exactly.
So wait a minute. Then he would start to pull from the other one and then move the other direction, right?
Right, exactly. So then, once the dirty dishwasher, quote unquote, was full, he'd run that dishwasher. That all of a sudden becomes the clean dishwasher. But I was thinking, I told him, how do you know you're not going to need to run that dishwasher because you're out of plates before you've got all the forks out of your clean dishwasher?
Right.
Like if you don't use everything exactly the same way, you're going to have to put stuff into a third location.
Also, did he have any kids or dependents of any sort in the house?
he had, being the operative term, a wife.
Yeah.
And 2 kids.
Okay, well, I don't know how you manage that, because the kids are going to use cereal bowls every day in a way that you're not going to be able to manage. Like, I don't think it works unless you're one guy at home being super meticulous about your plan.
I think a bachelor could get away with this for sure, but I don't think a family could pull this off.
No, that's interesting.
And once one person makes the mistake of accidentally putting a dirty dish into the wrong dishwasher, the whole system breaks down. All of a sudden, you've got to run both dishwashers and start the process all over again.
Yeah, it's super dangerous. That's fascinating, though. That guy's you always have a story about that dude. You always got something going on. Why is it always the guys that have the company that are like the entrepreneur people in just regular business, sales software, place that builds custom computers or whatever? Why are the guys that always own those places just a little odd? You know what I mean? Just a little, a little bit odd. It's like part of what makes them good at what they do and successful is that they have this little odd twist to them.
Yeah, no, it's true. There's a little bit of
it's weird.
A quirky side. Steve Jobs is probably a good example of this, right? Like, brilliant marketing innovator, everything. Little quirky. I think he was probably just a few years shy of wearing tissue boxes on his feet and letting his nails grow. yeah. A foot long, but it's Howard Hughes kind of stuff.
Yeah, Howard Hughes stuff. There you go. That's what I'm thinking of. Well, maybe not quite to that extreme, but little stuff.
That's the far extreme, but there is it's like a sliding scale, right? Yeah. Oh, he's about a 6 on the Howard Hughes scale. Right. Howard Hughes being a 10 on the Howard Hughes scale.
Yeah. I was gonna ask what Howard Hughes was, but I guess that makes sense. He's the maximum.
That's right.
So,
by the way, that CEO is has transitioned and is now a woman.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
So now he's got. Never mind. I had an idea.
You know what? She seems a lot happier. I need to say, she seems a lot happier now. I need to say he when I'm talking about him in the past.
Yeah.
She seems much happier now.
Well, there you go then. Well done.
Yes.
I was going to make a story about what would the dishwasher be this time, or what would be the new thing you want two of. And
I don't know.
And honestly, I don't have a good answer for that.
Do men and women use dishwashers in a different way?
I guess when it comes right down to it, that's an idea that could have stayed. He could have just kept with that idea. It doesn't have to change with his gender reassignment. I understand now.
Exactly. Yes.
Hey, quick mention: we got this email from somebody who was doing this cool thing, this idea to help independent podcasters.
Jamie Wright.
Yeah, Jamie Wright. They want to help independent podcasters now that podcasting is their full-time job instead of part-time, because there are a lot of people who aren't as lucky as Brian and I, who are doing great content but also work another job. Brian Dunaway is a good example. He's somebody who does, has his foot in one and his foot in the other. Anyway, those who are doing it as hobbies or as a way to make a little side gig on the side, they've all seen a dip in support. Very simple to get going. No fees, no minimums, no setup required. Basically, it's T-shirts. So you get shirts sell for $20, 22 for larger sizes, 10 for each sale. Goes back to the podcaster. Podcasts interested need to send an email to info@print-right.com. That's WRIGHT, like Wright, like the name, like Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers.
Actually, there's an easier way.
Yeah.
If you go to bit.ly/save the podcast.
Oh, it's even better. Let's do that.
Even better. Do that one. We got the lower one there.
So go to bit.
I just went there, and there's the first of all the shirts are available. Politics, politics, politics.
Oh, very nice. Looks like Justin jumped in.
Listen, if there's one person that doesn't need your damn help, I'm just kidding.
It's freaking Justin Robert Young.
Freaking Justin Robert Young.
He's fine.
I mean,
he got all that.
Seriously.
He got all that primary travel money, and then half of it got cut short, and now he's laying around in cocaine and booze.
That's right.
Not true. Anyway, it's a really cool concept.
Very cool. Yeah, exactly.
And I have a couple of shirts made by the fine Wrights.
Yes, the TMS Vegas, the marketing.
Jeff in marketing or whatever it was. Was it Jeff?
Jeff in marketing.
Yeah.
Was it Bob
Jeff?
in marketing gave me this? No, it wasn't Bob.
Jeff, Bob. I don't
Oh
remember.
my God. Why can't we remember the person in marketing that gave us those shirts?
I don't know. I always think of Janice in accounting. I can't think of the marketing name.
Rob in marketing?
Oh, was it Rob? It was Rob.
Rob. Oh, right. Because the joke is Rob.
Yep. Totally right.
We're robbed from marketing.
Yeah. We acquired those shirts 100% legitimately. Those were not stolen at all from boxes in a room.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, Brian and I definitely didn't do it. I can tell you that.
No, we really didn't. Yes.
No. Tanner Goodman, where are you at?
We really had nothing to do with that.
Okay. So anyway, check that out. bit.ly/save the podcast. It's a cool concept for different podcasters. And if you're a podcaster and you're doing the little side hustle and things are furloughed or weird for you, might be a good way to get a little extra scratch going. Also, we got an email from Steve. And Steve says this. His middle name is Danger was his subject. That's cool. He says,
I do like Steve.
I do like Steve as well. You know what? The guy that made the bees thing, this. Yeah. Here, let me play it. Where is it? I don't like bees. Here.
I don't like bees.
I think he still listens, but he used to be just like religiously listening to the show, like every moment, every day. Ever since we started playing that thing all the time, I haven't heard from that guy. So it makes me wonder if he knows.
You'd think that would be, he'd like all of a sudden have this new fame that he'd capitalize on and say, I'm the I don't like bees guy.
Right. Or at least write in and go, you guys keep playing my thing or whatever.
Bees?
Yeah. But I don't know where he
is. It's like the woman who said, I can definitely see why you like it. She has no idea.
Yeah, she has
quote has taken on a life of its own.
I can definitely see why you like it.
She has no idea.
No idea.
Or that guy, or the guy that sent the original "Love the Show" though email. He has no idea what he created. I don't think.
No idea, exactly.
Or maybe he does and he should write in. Actually, if any of the 3 people we mentioned, I'm sure the girl won't, but if you other 2, B guy or Love the Show Though guy, are still listening, send us an email. I just want to hear from you.
And it was the husband of the woman who said, I can definitely see why you like it, that sent in that clip.
Right.
It was for one of our movie film festival,
right.
TMS 30-second film festival or
right.
whatever it was.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh, we need to do one of those again. I love doing that.
We do need to do one of those again, especially while everybody's stuck at home. It seems like this is probably the best time to do one.
Hey, you've all got cameras. You're all sitting around doing nothing. Let's do it. Why don't we do that? We should. You know what? Brian and I will get together offline. We'll come up with some time.
Flag in the sand. A line in the sand. April 30th. Get in your. You've got time. You've got 3 weeks.
All right,
we'll
3
figure
weeks.
out what. Start thinking about it. We'll figure out a prize, and it'll be something good.
Yeah, we'll tell you what. By tomorrow, we'll have rules like how long can they be? Are we going to do a theme? Like all that stuff. So don't go make it yet, but tentatively say the 30th of this month. And Discord went crazy. Hold on. I'm switching us to Central. Right. We're going to Central time. Hold on there. Okay, is that better? Should be better.
There we go. Whew, way better. Ooh,
sometimes that West Coast Discord server, I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, everybody West Coast just turned on their computers to do their
yep.
their Zoom video conferences.
Everybody once went doo-doo-doo. How's the Windows startups go? Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, the Brian Eno. Bling, bling, bling. I know it just ends with the...
And then all the Macs went, brrrr.
That's right, exactly.
All right. Sorry, everybody. That was dumb. All right. What was my point here?
So yeah, we'll have ideas tomorrow for the prize, but start thinking about it. We'll the deadline will be April 30th. So while we're all locked in our houses for the next 22 days, figure out a fun TMS video for our film festival.
And we'll
put up a page with every submission that is not lewd.
Yeah.
We got a disclaimer.
Yeah. No lewds. Can't have any lewds.
No lewds.
I mean, you can
nudity. You can submit one with a nudity, but it won't win, and we can't put it on the page.
Yeah, you won't win. I can tell you that. Well, you might win in our hearts, but you're not going to win. You're not going to win the prize, whatever the prize is, which will also work out. So, we'll let you guys know. Keep your eye on the prize. Yeah. All right, cool. Steve wrote in, says his middle name is Danger. The message is getting rid of a bad name isn't the only reason to change your name. A service member in the Air Force changed his name to Jake Danger Thunderbolt, the most badass name ever held by a real person. He gave himself the middle and last names and changed his first name to his nickname. What would your new middle name be after you paid your $50? Which, by the way, I found out is closer to $100, $150 now.
Yeah, it's still worth it though.
Yeah,
for the right thing.
Well, if your last name is
$150 for Dick Trickle to not be called Dick Trickle anymore.
Exactly. If your name
that's a bargain.
If your name is Perry Von Pubis, go change it for $150.
That's right. So he's asking what we would pay or what our new middle name would be.
Yeah, what would you do?
Gosh, Danger is such a great one because you just want to be able to say Danger is my middle name, but it would be fun to have something else that's not necessarily a positive. Blank is my middle name.
Right.
Right.
I mean, my current middle name is Blaine. Yours is what? I forgot.
Richard.
That's so weird.
It's long for Dick. It's what it is.
I long for Dick.
Jamie.
Sorry. Oops. I'm trying to think of something dumb like kettle corn. Scott Kettle Corn Johnson. Boom. Nailed it. Boom.
Could you get the phrase "I don't have a middle name" as your middle name? So when somebody says, "What's your middle name?" I can say, "I don't have a middle name," and they say, "You don't?" I said, "No, I do. It's I don't have a middle name."
So you just do like a who's on first kind of gig back and forth.
Exactly. Yeah, it totally is. Exactly.
I'm sure you could.
What would be great?
Yeah, what would be all right?
Yes. What is your middle name? Yes. Yes is your middle name? No. What? What is your middle name? Yes. Yes is your middle name?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. $150 to have that happen? I think it's a no-brainer. I'd do it tomorrow if the places were open.
Yeah, if they were open. Okay, you've heard it here. Brian's committed. As soon as this all ends,
I'll do it. I'll totally do it. I'll change my middle name to what so that I can use that. that joke for the rest of my life.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Thanks for that. We appreciate it. Always great feedback and emails from you guys. You can send those to us at the morningstream@gmail.com, or just go to the website, use the form there, and send us your quick message. We get those and like those as well. Okay, Brian.
Okay.
What are we doing now? Oh, yeah, we're doing this right now.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must go take my vitamins. Your news has upset me greatly.
All right, it's time for the news, and it's brought to you by...
I hope this doesn't upset him. Hey, do you find poetry boring and mundane?
No.
Check out DG's Inspirations. Poetry is it DG's? DG's?
What did we decide yesterday?
Deej, because it's a play on the Full House Deej.
Oh.
But I think it's DG.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Sounds good.
What? I don't want to screw this up a second time, because that's why we're going to get today's, because I'm pulling up the email from...
Well, it says right here, it says the pronunciation of DG is DG. DG, right. See?
Think more of how little sister Tanner on Full House calls her older sister DJ. She calls her Deej. Blah, 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 blah. So Deej. Deeges.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Deej. Check out Deej's Inspirations. Poetry that tantalizes the senses and leaves you begging for more. Kind of like what I'm doing, begging for more. Erotic poetry, love poems, or sweet art of womanhood. Go to deegesinspirations.com to check out her exciting book info and links. That's DEGES inspirations.com. Check it out today. Don't worry about the pronunciation. Don't listen to how I'm mispronouncing it. Check it out and find out for yourself. DEGES inspirations.com.
Excellent. Check this out. This is hot off the presses. I like the stupid people, right? For the news.
Merrick Prime is in the chat room helping me, coaching me. Thank you.
Okay.
Deej.
Thank you.
I've never seen an episode of Full House. That does not help me at all.
Yeah, that doesn't compute at all.
Not one episode.
No, that was not our... Brian and I... Okay, let me tell you what happened when Full House was on. Brian and I were in college. We were young. We were like 20, 21 years old. We did not give it... When did that show start? Late 80s, early 90s?
I don't know. But whatever, it was like the Friday night ABC Suckfest is what that was. It was part of all of the worst...
And I hate to tell you guys this, and I'll admit the shows that we thought were cool when we were young are not.
Yeah,
we thought that Different Strokes was good. It's not good.
We did, right, exactly.
Silver
Some
Spoons.
people thought that Dukes of Hazzard was good. I didn't, but some people did.
We did. I did, and it's not. It's not good. It's bad TV. Okay, yeah. And all I'm saying is you need to admit to yourselves that because you were young and you liked a thing does not mean it's actually good. And Full House was never actually good. It was always kind of bad. Okay?
Yeah,
it's just the truth.
Even Bob Saget doesn't even list it on his resume when he's getting new jobs.
No, except
like Bob Saget gets new jobs. Plus his resume is full of F-bombs.
Well, plus, he's on the new one though, right? The revival thing.
Oh, is he on Fuller House?
Yeah.
I think he just made an appearance.
I think he's happy to take those checks. I think is how that works.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
But anyway, if I were him,
I've never heard his Aristocrats.
Oh my gosh, he's the most blue, dirty comedian. You just don't know it. I mean, people know it now, but man, he'll go deep and dark on you.
He goes dark. Yeah.
He's part of some big, some bunch of comedians are getting together to do a big
fundraiser deal. I saw the music one.
Yeah, there's a big music one. There's a one with a bunch of comedians.
Laugh Aid.
The late night hosts are doing something for nurses and doctors.
So the late night hosts are hosting that music, the music thing that's going to be later on this month with Lady Gaga and a whole bunch of different artists, Elton John and folks like that. Then there's Laugh Aid 2020.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
Laugh Aid 2020. Here it is. Comedy Gives Back.
Oh.
4. So it happened.
Wait,
that's the best laugh of all, is that apparently it already happened.
So that's a done deal? We're done with that?
It's apparently a done deal. A live stream that happened April 4th.
Oh, I guess
judging by the fact that nobody in the chat room says, "Oh no, that already happened." I think we all missed it. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, I did miss it. Was it like Bill Burr and like a whole bunch of and I think Saget was in that?
The list of this is like Dave Attell, Maria Bamford, Hannibal Buress, Bill Burr, Dane Cook, Whitney Cummings, Jimmy Fallon. So there were a couple people late night hosts. Ron Funches, Jim Gaffigan, Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert Gottfried was in it. Sweet.
Tom Green.
Oh, Tom
All
Green.
right, the next question is, why didn't we get it? If Tom Green was invited to this, why didn't we get invited?
Yeah, look, we are in the comedy category on iTunes. If they let Tom Green in there, where's our phone call?
How did this get made, folks? Even we're in this. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't get it now. Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he's funny.
Craig Robinson.
Ray Romano.
Oh,
hey, I'm telling jokes here. Hey.
Paula Poundstone, Kevin Pollak, Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, these are big names.
Yeah. Howie Mandel is the only person whose name gets split halfway through the word. So it's Howi, then next line, E. Mandel.
If he's as big a germaphobe as everybody says, it's just the worst time of his life right now.
He has got to be just wrapped like he's got to be. He's like sealed in what's the thing? The plastic.
He's wrapped in plastic.
Seal a meal. Like he basically has sealed a meal himself. The little straw so that he can breathe. That's it.
Is that what that's called? That's what that's called. Seal a meal?
Seal a meal.
Oh, seal a meal.
Seal a meal.
I don't know why that sounds so weird in my head.
All right, $150 you could get your name changed to Sela Meal.
Sela Meal. I like it. Hey, if Saul Goodman can do it.
Right, exactly.
Wait, when's that on? Is that tonight?
I need to get caught up. I need. That was last night. I need to get caught up. I think I'm 2 episodes back on Better Call Saul.
I'm only 1, but I need to.
Because we've been binging something that I'm excited to talk about tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw a movie. I've seen many things, but I saw a movie I cannot wait to talk about tomorrow.
On Saturday night, you saw a movie on your little date with Kim, didn't you? That you want to talk about tomorrow.
You probably already know what it is, but I adored it.
It's on our list too. Yeah.
Adored it. Loved it so much. I'll save it for tomorrow though.
Yeah. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right. There's this woman in Walmart.
Yes. The news.
Yes, the news. This woman in Walmart sprayed a Walmart cashier in the eyes with Lysol disinfectant after being told there was a limit on the number of cans she could buy. So basically it went like this. She got up to the thing with a whole bunch of cans. The lady said, sorry, we're only allowed to sell 2 of those to each customer. And the lady got so mad she whipped one of the cans out and sprayed this poor freaking Walmart cashier in the face with the Lysol.
And this was not Florida. I'm looking at it right now. Pennsylvania.
This pisses me off so bad. I hate when people mistreat people like this.
Was the expectation that she do that, and then the woman would say, all right, you win. You can buy 5 cans.
Yeah, now you can buy 5. Like, what did she think was going to happen? It's assault, you dumbass. Oh, this one fires me up.
It was Massachusetts that this happened.
Okay, a Walmart Supercenter in Leicester. On March 27th, cashier informed the woman that there was a limit on the number of things she could purchase. The woman is suspected of responding by spraying the employee in the eye with the liquid. She then completed her purchase and then left in what is believed to be an Uber car. She left in an Uber. She took an Uber, which is a whole nother issue of trying to keep yourself socially distant.
It seems like they've got a couple good ways of figuring out who this person is.
The assault required EMS to respond to the scene. Let's see. They did a picture of the suspect. The incident comes as stores across the country have limited the number of cleaning agents and other household supplies people can buy at one time during the coronavirus pandemic. Walmart has also started limiting the number of customers to roughly 20% of the store's capacities as of Saturday. So that was a thing they were putting into the thing. But let me just say this. I know people are stressed.
Yes.
I know that this makes us all just super weirded out and everything else. I get it. I totally get it, man. The stress is real. The feelings are real. And that lady with her Lysol, I know you're frustrated, okay? But if you're taking more than you're supposed to, A, you're hoarding. And if you sprayed her in the eye, B, you suck. Yes. You freaking suck. So stop it and don't do that sort of thing. And if I'd have been in that line, coronavirus be damned, I probably would have pushed her out of the way or tackled her or something. I'd have been so mad.
It doesn't say here, but I imagine it wasn't a matter. Oh, I'm sorry, you did say that. She completed her purchase and left what is believed to have been an Uber.
Yeah.
So after spraying the woman in the face, she still, the lady said, okay, well, let's let you pay for the rest of the stuff. That'd be cash or credit.
Yeah.
You need a bag?
Yeah. Whoever this cashier is.
There? Like what?
That cashier is a saint, dude. She's a saint, whoever that was, he or she. I'm so annoyed by this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do this any time of the year, any time of your existence. But when you treat people like this, it's a store policy. Freaking live with it. Go buy 2 more cans from another Walmart if you have to.
Right.
Like,
what do you need that many cans of Lysol for anyway? Really, you spray the packages that come in the house. You wipe down surfaces.
They did this with the eggs at Sprouts with us. Okay, we got up there. We had 4 dozen because we wanted to give 1 to Carter and 1 to Taylor because we were going out those directions. Curbside drop off. Give them some eggs.
Sure.
She says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We can only do 2 dozen per customer."
You hucked eggs at her, right? Like that's
yeah. I jammed them.
Just huck eggs at her, and then she says, "Okay, all right, you can buy all 4."
I just ground one into her eye and just said, "Give me these eggs." And then I completed my purchase and got my Uber. No, that's not what happened. I said,
"What? No, what? That's not the way we."
No,
do
here's what I said to her.
Society?
I said, "You know what? No problem. I totally understand." And then she explained the story about a guy who bought like 26 dozen eggs and then tried to return them the day after. And big nightmare. And I'm like, you know what's the right policy? And it's totally fine. She goes, "You know what you could do? Your wife could buy these 2, and then you could just buy these 2 just separately." And I said, "No problem. That sounds great. Thank you for accommodating us." Like, be nice. They'll be nice. They're having a shitty day. You might be thinking you are too, but I guarantee it's not as shitty as getting sprayed in the eye with Lysol. So
no kidding. And just the stuff that people have to endure at the people working on the front lines. Of course, our doctors, our nurses, our first responders, they're all dealing with hell right now. But I think people in grocery stores and convenience stores are dealing with a separate kind of hell, which is panicky customers, and that's another
guaranteed. Keep hearing about
whole different issue.
Some lady at the Smiths over here was talking about she takes her breaks in her car and just cries out there because people are so freaking mean during the day.
Yeah,
it's like, just dude, we're all in this together, you dumbasses. These aren't robots. I'm so fired up about this. I want to reach through the internet and strangle somebody. So annoying to me. All right. Anyway, so that happened.
God's getting angry.
I am getting angry. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. All right, hey, check this out. 2 pandas at an empty zoo under coronavirus quarantine finally mated after 10 years together. It took a quarantine to make it happen. All the people left and they went.
Oh, exactly. It's like, finally we've got some privacy. It takes me a couple of days to work my magic, and can't do that when there are constant zoo visitors checking us out.
Yeah. Luke Sightwalker does not like this "we are all in this together" saying. He says, "I hate that saying. If I run out of toilet paper, you are going to give me some of yours. Of course not. So I don't see how we are all in this together."
I would give Luke Sightwalker some of my toilet paper if he needed some.
Luke, I would totally do that.
My neighbor would totally give me some toilet paper if I needed it.
Also,
we are all in this together.
I happen to know somebody in this chat room who ran out of toilet paper and couldn't get any anywhere. And another person in the tadpole in the community sent them toilet paper.
Aww,
so
that's so cool.
I don't buy that, Luke Sightwalker.
Yes. But I will say, and Tina was the one who brought this up yesterday, and I totally agree with it. We need to stop using the phrase "the new normal." This is not normal.
No.
It's not going to become our normal. It's a temporary. It's the new temporary is what it is, not the new normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a temporary normal. We'll get back to the normal eventually, and hopefully we have learned a few things. So the new normal perhaps has some better behavior in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I want. I know that's naive. Probably Luke Sightwalker will tell me that in a second. But you do what you can. All right, so these 2 pandas, they totally did it. Here's what's happened. If being quarantined...
And they didn't even need any Pornhub videos of people in panda suits doing it to turn them on.
Nope, they didn't need it. 2 giant pandas in the Hong Kong Zoo mated successfully on Monday for the first time in almost 10 years together at the park. Staff at the Ocean Park theme park and zoo. And I think I went there when I was in Hong Kong. I saw some sort of zoo, but it was small. Anyway, they announced the female Ying Ying and male Li Li, both 14 years of age. It's a little young to be getting it on.
Well, in Panda, 14 is the age of consent.
Panda years. Finally sealed the deal around 9 a.m. local time after showing signs that they had entered their hormonal estrus cycle, or mating cycle, in late March. Giant pandas are notoriously bad at breeding, at least in captivity. So news of the bonking bears had staff thrilled.
Giant pandas are notoriously bad at breeding.
Yeah, they are. They
body issues, right? Like they have.
I think it's when they're in
It's
captivity.
The term giant pandas. Can we come up with something a little sexier?
I think it's because they're in captivity. They're getting stared at all the time. They're getting watched by people. They're just not used to it. And I think I don't know. They just don't have the libido they need to get past all that. Yeah. Whereas a couple of apes, they're just fine with it. You know?
Rabbits?
Yeah.
Rabbits do not have that problem.
No, rabbits are fine. It says here they arrived there in 2007 and they've successfully naturally mated. And they say it's very exciting for all of them. They say the chance of pregnancy. Yeah, exactly. The chance of pregnancy via natural mating is higher than by artificial insemination, says this article. So that's good news in these trying times, in this new normal.
Nope. That's we'll bring it back. Thing of the day, just for one day. The new normal. The phrase new normal needs to go.
We should. The new phrase should be: stop trying to make new normal a thing. Right? Is that what you say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quit trying to make fetch a thing. Quit trying to make new normal a thing.
There
I
you
like
go.
it. Maybe pandas having sex is just really, really funny to watch, and they get really self-conscious of it. Like they can't do it when people are laughing.
Yeah, that's a point I hadn't thought of. Maybe it's a real gnarly setup when they get going.
Maybe it is, and it's like, Fred, come here, check this out. Look at this.
You have to see this.
Whoa! Hold on, I put this on TikTok.
Giant pandas are weird.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for one more here. Let's do this story.
Sure.
Another animal story.
Oh, good.
A tiger at the Bronx Zoo in New York City tested positive for the virus. This wasn't supposed to be possible, as far as they knew. Although we think that the origin of it did leap from an animal to a human, but it's not supposed to be possible to transmit it from human to animal. But nonetheless, here we are. A tiger in the New York City Bronx Zoo has tested positive for COVID-19. This, according to the Wildlife Conservation Society. The tiger, 4-year-old female Malayan tiger named Nadia, developed a dry cough and a decreased appetite. She was tested out of an abundance of caution, and the results were confirmed by the USDA's National Veterinary Services, which is located in Iowa. Her sister, Azul, the gatekeeper, just kidding, or the key maker. No, the key.
Are you the key master?
Key master is what I meant to say. I like that. It sounded like Scooby-Doo asking if they're
Scooby-Doo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how tigers talk.
Let's see here. The zoo said the cats were infected by a person caring for them who had COVID-19, but was asymptomatic or had not yet developed those symptoms. And by the way, this reminds me, we still haven't heard from anybody in the community who's got it. Have we? Other than
we have not.
Mark Spagnola's aunt, I guess, passed away in New Jersey from it, but but no direct first level contact that I know of, and I hope that sticks, man. I hope none of you get it, because we'd like
maybe
you guys.
TMS is the vaccine.
Maybe they're gonna extract
maybe
our.
You will get Lieutenant Yar. You will get a treaty, and you'll get the vaccine.
Sweet. Just listen every day. Boy, that's some good misinformation we can spread around.
That's right. Did you get an email from my thing yesterday?
I did.
We got one tweet.
I did. Yeah. I got 2 or 3, but most of them were exactly what we thought would be, which is they didn't finish listening before they sent their messages. So once they finished listening, it was fine. Right. One guy basically
say something stupid. Wait till the end of the show and then send the email. If we go the entire show with that thing saying something stupid, then you can
send your email. Yeah, if we let it slide for a whole hour and a half, you can lay into us. Anyway, this tiger's got the thing, and it's weird. Preventative measures are now in place for all staff who are caring for the animals and the other cats in our 4 WC zoos. What's WC? WCS zoos. What does that stand for?
That was the wasn't that the
WC?
Oh no, the National
Wildlife Conservation Society. That's
there it is. WCS. Yeah.
So it's to further prevent any exposure to any other zoo cats. So maybe there's some thinking. Maybe the cats are more susceptible. I currently do not have a cat, so I don't know if house cats are in this deal or not. But beware, Brian. Your cat could be a asymptomatic.
She did cough
carrier.
yesterday. Tina and I looked over. She was sitting in my lap, and she started going, ah.
Oh no!
Ah, and it doesn't sound like like the typical cat hairball kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we both were like, well, I've never heard her make this sound before. But she came back and hasn't made the sound since. So
that's fantastic. Silver linings. That's what I call those.
Yes, exactly.
All right. It says this. It is unknown how the disease develops in big cats. There's no evidence that animals can infect people with the virus other than the theory that the original one came from an animal of some sort. I remember that there was a story that a guy ate a raw bat, and that's where it started, somewhere in China. But I don't think that ended up being bogus.
I think
right?
that was fake news. Yeah, Tina heard the same thing, and
I mean, it still may have come from like a wet market or some kind of more sort of rural weird thing. But I keep hearing that, and I don't know if it's true. I don't think it's true.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to spread that information until we get confirmation of where the where the virus originated from, what exactly happened.
Ozzy Osbourne, 1978, bit a head off a bat. Done.
Sharon!
His new album is not very good, by the way.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer because that song he did with Post Malone is very good. And I thought maybe that would be, some more of that.
Right, a sign of, yeah, exactly. And it was not, huh?
No, it's just, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not great. My opinion, I could, look, your mileage may vary on the latest from Oswald Osborne, legendary hairband rock metal man.
Legendary guy who's impossible to understand in his normal speaking voice, but has the diction and pronunciation of the king when he's singing.
Yeah,
the king's speech.
Well, not that king, but different kings.
After the end of the king's speech.
Yes,
he sounded like that.
That's a great movie. I want to watch that again.
That was a good movie.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to spend some time with our friend Bill Duran and then Justin Robert Young. So stick around for all of that. We need to play a song right now, though. What do you got?
Yeah, and big thanks to Dave Clifford of the Us and Them group for sending this along, marketing of Us and Them group. We're going all the
day started wrong.
Barbara, get up, you'll be late for school.
Got any more dudes come in, think they can shoot?
This is the morning stream. Yo, bartender, Jobu needs a refill.
All right, we're back, everybody.
Okay. Back announce time. That was, again, that was Abrams, and the song's called Modern Ways, coming out on their brand new album. That single you can get right now. Go to Bandcamp.com and search for Abrams, Abrams, and you can find out more.
Nice.
And pre-order the album.
That seems all right. They reminded me of like Five Finger Death Punch mixed with a little Linkin Park or something. There was a little Linkin Park on there.
I could hear that.
Yeah.
Very good.
Which, what's Linkin Park going to do now? Now that Linkin Park's lost their lead singer to that horrible suicide, what do they do now?
Chester Bennington, yeah. We were talking about him yesterday on Soundography. We have an episode coming up about the band Hollywood Undead, and there were a couple songs that's like, oh, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Chester Bennington.
Do you think they'll... do you go on as a band when this happens, or do you just get out? What do you do?
Joy Division turned into New Order after the suicide of Ian Curtis, I think.
Yeah, Nirvana turned into everybody leaving and Foo Fighters started.
Foo Fighters and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So
except for the bassist, he went on to do nothing.
Chris Novoselic.
Yeah, he just went on to use that sweet money.
Christ or Christ? Is it pronounced Christ or Christ?
I think it's Christ. Isn't it Christ? I don't know. Jesus Novoselic. That's it.
Yes, right, exactly.
Time for this, people.
Your bat cave's open there, Bill.
Bill Duran joining us from the beautiful state of Washington in the Pacific Northwest. Bill, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing just fine, thank you.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Every time I hear one of our friends come on the show and I haven't talked to them in a week, I always hope I don't hear their voice being all crackly or weird because I don't want any of you getting sick You're all...
I don't want to get sick either, Scott.
Yeah. How was you and your twin brother's birthday? Your little joint birthday there? How'd that go?
It was nice. We had a little online video chat with a bunch of our friends. We shared stories and just generally took it easy, and it was really nice.
That's fantastic. Well, you both deserve a hearty and healthy 52. Just kidding. All right. Hey, Bill is here.
52.
Bill is here like he is every Tuesday, talking about the world of making things. Bill's a maker and makes stuff, and he has a rad YouTube channel to prove it. And today he's joining us with something. Bill, what do you got today?
Yeah, well, in the last week, I haven't made anything.
All right.
But many other people have. So today I want to talk about how a couple of ways that makers are helping with the coronavirus.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And the first point I really want to make, and this is important because I see a lot of people being excited or scared, just generally very reactionary, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they think, oh, crap. Oh, everyone's helping. I got to help.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't help or if it's going to be too much for you right now, that's fine. It's totally cool.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Other people are set up to help a lot more. My friend Joel has, I think at last count, 40,000 3D printers. So
whoa,
he's printing pieces for face masks right now because he's just set up for it and he can crank them out really fast.
Oh man, and the stuff that he's been doing. By the way, I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second. You said you're not making anything. You just made a point, Bill.
Bill makes a point. Good job.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, you're talking about the 3D printing nerd, right? Yeah, he does amazing stuff, and boy, the arm loads of face mask things that he's been producing, it's just fantastic. So good for him.
That's great.
Right. So if you're struggling with your 3D printer or you have to go get more materials or anything like that, don't worry about it. The best thing that everyone can do is just stay healthy.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are coming together to help out, so don't feel bad if you can't right now, or if just mentally you're not in. If you're not in a good place right now to do it, then don't stress yourself out over it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are really using the capabilities that they have right now to help out a lot, which is really great.
That's cool.
One quick thing I do want to point out, because I do see this occasionally, is that sometimes people, and I understand people are motivated by the best of intentions, but they will occasionally shame someone who's of renown who they don't think is doing enough.
Yeah.
And I would very much like to discourage that if possible.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's hard.
Right. Just because someone is well known and you think they have all this capability, remember, they're probably having a hard time going through this all right now too. So let's all not expect too much out of other people, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think so. That seems like a thing we should be doing no matter what, all the time. And so now, why not now? Perfect time to practice that sort of behavior. Or
absolutely.
Not doing
actually, a quick anecdote. I went to Target for groceries. Our plan right now is we have a bunch of non-perishable stuff stocked up, but every once in a while we zip out for some fresh things early in the morning, and it's been fine. It's been really, really fine. But we went to Target and there were maybe 20 other customers there, so it was really empty, and everyone was really quiet.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to talk to one another.
Yeah.
And everyone stayed away from one another.
Yeah.
And it was the best shopping experience I've ever had.
I mean, it's never like that, right? We had the same, we have similar experience here when I went to the Sprouts here. There was just 3 people in there. They're playing 80s music really loud, like they always do. So that's going on, but hardly no one's saying anything.
No.
We got to the register. It was the most conversation we had there. And then we just left.
We didn't even, they were using the self-checkout for ours.
Oh, really?
And there was a woman there who had to help people if they needed it. So I bought a certain number of bottles of liquor.
A certain number.
And she had to come. I bought some liquor, and she had to come check my ID. So she came over, but she didn't say a word. And the thing I realized as I was leaving is she has to work here all day.
Yeah.
I got to show up and leave, but she's probably terrified all day. So I'm just trying to keep that stuff in mind when I'm interacting with other people. And by interacting, I mean at an extremely safe distance.
Right.
From very far away.
That's a good idea.
But
Yeah.
A little empathy goes a long way through this whole thing, especially when you see people doing their best.
Yeah. We had a FedEx driver drop off something yesterday. He rang the doorbell. Normally, just if it's not assigned for, they ring and then leave just to let you know the package is there. But he rang, and then I heard a knock. And I'm like, oh, they must have a signature or something. I'm like, what's this about? I get up to the door, and there's a FedEx guy standing, I don't know, 4 feet, 5 feet back or whatever. And he's got a mask. He's got gloves. And he says, is that okay for me to use? And I said, and we looked down what he was looking at. Kim had put out a wipes or like a Lysol wipe thing.
Oh, yeah.
And we said, oh, yeah, 100, totally. That's for you guys. And have that water. We promise that's clean. And there's also like Rice Krispie Square thing in there if you want it. And he was so nice and he was so grateful and whatever. So once in a while, just try to do a thing, even if they're told they can't. Like I'm almost 100% sure most of these delivery guys are being told don't take stuff you can't account for from the.
Oh, right.
I'm sure there's a rule, but we just still felt like these guys are out there in the middle of this all day. My brother Matt is a UPS driver. I know he's just swamped with people all day trying to avoid this thing, and so you gotta just do stuff. Do stuff like that. Don't squirt the Walmart lady in the eye with your Lysol. I'm still mad about that news story.
You really are, yeah. It's got a little hot about that.
A little hot about
hot
that.
in the collar.
Want to go find her and give her what for? Anyway, this is all good advice, Bill. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
There's another cool thing, and I think this is the one that Joel's working with. But there's a website I want to send people to if they do want to help, or if they want to just send money to a cause that's helping out a lot. It's called masksfordocs.com. If you look up masks for docs, you'll find it. What's extraordinary is that this didn't exist a month ago. People from the maker community put this thing together. It looks like it's really well put together. And it's a way for people to figure out how they can contribute if they have a 3D printer, if they have supplies or anything they can donate. It's just an easy place to go do it. And the main thing they're making are those face shields.
Oh, right. I've heard a lot of laser. If you have a laser cutter, these are in big need for that.
So there's a couple of different designs they're going with. The team over at Prusa Research in the Czech Republic, they 3D print all of their 3D printers. They have a factory full of printers. So they pivoted to making these masks pretty much overnight, and they're just making tens of thousands of them. It's bonkers.
Wow.
So they took their whole manufacturing thing, and then we're like, now we make masks, and that was it. And they're just cranking them out.
Wow.
And so they have a design out that's really good, I guess. And then there's another one out there that Joel's been printing a bunch of. They 3D print the stems, the part that clings to your face, and then they use transparency sheets or the laser kit stuff for the face covering. But what's amazing is that you could buy a pack of 100 transparency sheets for I don't know $10. I don't know what they cost. Not much. You 3D print all of these things, and someone in their house can make 100 face shields.
Yeah.
So the part that I was having a problem with, I don't have a 3-hole punch that would, or a hole punch that would work. So is there someone, like, if I were to buy the face shields and 3D print a bunch of these things, there's somebody that I donated to that could.
So if all you can do is print the stems, then you print those and you send them to someone. That's all you got to do. Okay. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just whatever part you can do, you can help with.
Nice.
And again, if you go to the website, they have a place where you can sign up. They're doing such a great job of like keeping track of everything and organizing things. They have where do they see this? They have 100 local chapters delivering 3D printing supplies on 6 continents.
Jeez,
that's awesome.
That's
like
really
they set up their own I'm sure it's a mess and hard to handle, but they set up their own supply chain in a month, and it's just people doing it too. It's so amazing.
I hope someone is getting a bunch of footage of them. I'd love to see it.
I bet they are.
I want them to document this kind of stuff. So when we start getting all the cool things after, like documentaries and things, I want to see stuff about this. I don't want documentary footage of a lady freaking out in a Walmart. I want to see documentary footage of a farm of 3D printers saving a bunch of doctors and nurses. That's an amazing thing. It's really, really cool.
So one of the other things people are making are face covering. So a mask that covers your mouth and nose. And this is guidelines about these things have been all over the place lately. But the CDC on their website today has a whole section on homemade cloth face coverings. and they do recommend wearing cloth face coverings in public where other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain. So that's the current recommendation. But they have some recommendations on their homemade face coverings. So that's really great. If you're going to do that, there's so and no instructions. It's really amazing. So if you look up CDC face coverings, there's just everything is right there. If you want to sew your own, that's the place for it.
Nice. Yeah, Kim's been making some based on, I think, on these. Also, I guess Nicole's got a really good pattern, so she's been using that.
Right.
And
cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And we have a hospital right here near us, but they're not. So this is crazy. We have this expo center thing in just north of us or northeast of me that normally is for like, oh, Brian, you were there. It was for the Comic-Con thing we went to, or that video game con we went to that time when we spoke.
Geeks,
right? Yeah, the Geekset thing
Geeks.
with GEX. Anyway,
GEX, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great big, halls and stuff, and it's not like a massive convention center, but it's a nice expo center for when people are doing, whatever the expo they're doing. And we saw pictures of this yesterday, but the local health organizations have turned this place into a big multi-bed triage center.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the most crazy thing to see. It's just like all these beds, big spaces between the beds because you can in that space. So you create enough space to not contribute to the infection while you can care for people. They have everything has like doctor stuff right next to the beds, a place for doctors to sit and do their thing. It was crazy how cool it is, but nobody's in there because it's just like this preemptive thing. It's like we want to have this ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I like seeing that. I like seeing preparation and like we're ready to fire off at a moment's notice, not scrambling for before when it's too late, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
they in New York City they did that in the Javits Center, which is where they have New York Comic-Con.
Oh right.
It's really interesting. It's something else to get to see pictures of that place I've been to before.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm like, guys, avoid the escalators. They're a choke point. It's always a mess.
Yeah.
The escalators in that convention hall are a disaster.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
But and then and this was a while ago, like a month ago, King County purchased, I think, 4 hotels in the area that were vacant to put people.
Oh, weird. Vacant hotels.
Yeah, that was a while ago, like weeks ago.
Wow,
they did that. Yeah.
There's a big push in Vegas for some of the resort owners to loosen up their grip a little bit because right now there's 150,000 hotel rooms unoccupied.
Yeah, right.
And
oh, no kidding. Yeah, it'd be a great place to help treat people.
Yeah, so they're thinking about that. Mm-hmm. They're thinking about maybe a homeless initiative because there's a lot of homeless there.
Yeah.
Like some of that sort of thing. So I don't know. It's interesting to see how this stuff goes. Sal,
all right, I got a recommendation for you guys. You probably already talked about it, but it's amazing, and I'm going to share it with you guys so that we end on a high note.
Yes.
Or I end on a high note.
All right.
This recommendation, John Krasinski from The Office started his own new YouTube channel, and it's just called Some Good News. And all he does is he has people tweet him good news, and then he shares it on a video every week. He's done 2 so far, and it's just really nice to watch something fun and charming every week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched any of these yet, but from all accounts, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's so charming. Like, it's so wonderful for me as a person who produces video and live video on the internet, right?
Yeah.
To watch people like Stephen Colbert and his family essentially try and run a Twitch stream poorly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not good at it. They're not good at it.
And there's a fantastic amount of charm there, the way they're just kind of rolling with it. And John Krasinski's new video is totally that. Everything is handmade by like his kids, and he just calls in his funny famous friends to come in and just do silly bits, and it's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Does he ever stop and just look at the camera, like a different camera?
I think he's probably waiting to pull that off until it's like it's perfect.
Yeah,
you got to keep that in your back pocket.
You don't want to overuse that.
Nah.
He should get Pam on there. That would be good.
Right.
I know he had Steve Carell on one of them, which was pretty great. Yeah, that is a very good thing. And I watched the first one, and I didn't know there was a second one yet. I guess I need to get over there and look at it. But Yeah, he's awesome.
It's funny to think that it's Emily Blunt like sitting there holding the camera. While
He's just holding it the whole time. She's his tripod.
He's holding it the whole time. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Well, all right. These are great recommendations.
Wonderful.
You did a bunch of really good stuff there, and then you gave us a thing at the end, just like normal. But all of this is to help everybody during the pandemic, and I love it. So,
damn straight.
Well done, Bill. It's Bill Duran, Chimbeard on Twitter, punishprops.com. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
All right. Are you ready for
Yes,
this?
sir.
Are you ready for this?
Hold on. Let me. I'm just gonna tighten my seatbelt a little bit for jury. Just gonna tighten things
Just tighten
so
it.
that
You don't have to.
yeah.
You don't need a new strap or a new seat or any of that. You just
No.
need
No. Okay. All right. I feel braced. Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Here we go.
These are their stories.
Oh, I'm terrible with names.
I'm not. I'm great with the name Justin Robert Young, a man about town who's also trapped in his apartment like the rest of us. He is on the line with us right now, as he is every Tuesday. Justin, welcome to the show.
Oh boy, how are we doing today?
Hanging in there, making do with what you got. I heard.
Yeah. How many? What is this? 3 weeks? Going on 3 weeks? Yeah. Still doing okay.
4
still
for me. I think. More like 4.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think it's
I think it's a little bit longer than that for us because we were early.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing it before it was cool.
That's right.
Exactly. I knew lockdown before the rest of the world knew lockdown.
That's right. We did start early here too, just because we were like, all right, well, let's hunker down and maybe we can flatten that curve. And then you realize, it takes a village. You got to all do it to flatten that curve. And it does seem like there's some flattening happening here and there.
No. There. I was actually just looking at some of the models today. The one that I've been following the most is what is referred to colloquially as the Chris Murray model, and that is out of Washington State, and it has good news for California. California looks like it has indeed flattened its curve, which is tremendous news for the nation, considering the population centers that are out here.
Yeah,
it's easy to forget that when you're not here that California is basically the entire eastern seaboard, but as one state.
Yeah.
So if that is tremendous so far, at least a glimmer of hope. Obviously, things are very, very dark there in New York. And oh boy, I actually just before I came on, they just released models that they have for other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And man, everybody listening in the UK, please, for God's sakes, stay in your home.
Yeah, stay. You just stay in your home. Yeah, I've been trying to pay attention mostly to the data when I can. Yeah. I've kind of gone on a bit of a news fast, which has been nice. Occasionally, I'll get all fired up like I did at that lady this morning in the news about squirting another lady in the eye with her Lysol because she couldn't buy more than 2 cans at Walmart. So things like that will fire me up.
Where are you? I feel like I am dialed into every inch of this, but I did not see the lady squirting somebody else in the eye with Lysol.
Yeah,
story.
it was a
talked about on the show, and Scott has not been able to
I can't let her go. I just cannot let that lady go. But anyway, somebody went to Walmart. They have limits on how much of that stuff you can buy.
Of course.
She was trying to buy too much of it. They said, I'm sorry, you can only buy 2 of those. She turned around mad and just squirted the cashier in the eye with one of the cans of Lysol, and should rightly be charged with like assault and should have a
that's assault and you should. I mean, I don't. But where do we even put people now? We're letting prisoners out, right?
Yeah,
like, what do we do? Do we just put them in a dunce cap and put them behind plexiglass? Like, what happens now?
I don't know. That sounds all right for her, but anyway, I'll let her go for now. Hey, did you hear before we get to the subject at hand?
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a new episode of Tiger King today or something like that.
Well, no, that dingus Jeff Lowe is the one who said it.
Oh,
so like,
what's he talking about then?
He's not the most reliable.
Yeah, I don't know. All the headlines I initially saw were Jeff Lowe, new episode of Tiger King coming this week. I don't know what it would be about. Aside from maybe just following up with everybody realizing that now they're international phenomenons because everybody is at home and watching this documentary.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Although knowing all of them, even the people that are furious with the documentarians, they would seem like the kind of people that would still sit down and interview again and then say something else insane that we would obsess about, so they could get mad at that and say like, no, why'd you show it? Like,
yeah. I think you're right. I don't think it's happening. I'm looking.
The question is, will it feature that bitch Carol Baskin?
She says so someone interviewed her. The Rap interviewed her and said, if there is a bonus or a reunion or whatever, do you want anything to do with it? And she says, no, I want nothing to do with it. You cool cats and kittens. She said.
Did you say it like that? I'm sure she did.
No, she didn't say cool cats and kittens. But every time she said that, if I drank, I would drink right then. Like today, if you're listening to this show and every time I bring up the Lysol lady, you should drink. You'd all be drunk by now. Hey,
yeah.
So
and whatever. No one's gonna judge you. It's the apocalypse. Who cares?
Right. Who gives a crap? Okay. So last night, you and I had a chat via text about what we might talk about today, and I think the biggest topic on people's minds today, from a political standpoint, which is often what you bring to the show, is what's going on in Wisconsin. Because I can't actually make heads or tails of it. On the one hand, I'm hearing, nope, the vote's happening today. And on the other hand, I'm hearing they're still fighting for delays. Maybe that's something you can do in the day that you're doing the election. But can you give us just sort of the rundown of why that's so weird over there, or what's going on?
So here's the headline. Voting is happening. And if you have an absentee ballot in Wisconsin, mail it today. That's the only headline that really, really matters. We can talk about how we got there.
Yeah.
Effectively, all these states that have had primaries led up, because again, this is supposed to be the killing fields for primary campaigns. You know, you get out there, you try to make it work in Iowa, you go through these first 4 states that ends in South Carolina, and then you start to have these successive sort of I know obviously Brian, as the reality television impresario that you are, yeah, these are the elimination rounds, effectively. Right. Pretty much.
Right. Yes.
From this point on, you got to have a really compelling reason to go forward, and because the clusters of states start to get bigger and bigger, and you're playing in massive media markets consecutively, it becomes incumbent upon you to drop out. And then we have a plague, which now pushes everything back.
Right.
There is one little problem. Wisconsin has developed a very contentious relationship as a battleground state for really the past decade. And you can go and look back at the battles over their governor, Scott Walker, and the recall attempts. Paul Ryan certainly has played a factor into that. But they hate each other, the Republicans and Democrats within that state. They do not work well together at all. So what happened is this. Everybody else on that primary slate, every other state decided, June or July. That's when we'll do our primary. We're moving it back. By hook or by crook, we'll figure it out in the state legislature. We'll figure it out with the state parties. We're moving them back. Wisconsin decided to play chicken with each other. The Republicans and the Democrats were really fixated on 2 races, down ballot, right? So this does, we're going to get to the Bernie and Biden of it, but in their mind, locally, they were focused on a state court position that could factor into a few decisions that would affect how the general election this year is contested.
Yeah.
And then the mayor of Milwaukee, the largest city in the state.
Right.
So they went back and forth, and nobody wanted to blink. It's the Republicans that control the state legislature. It's a Democrat who is the governor. They refuse to blink until it gets very, very awkward, because the Democratic National Convention is supposed to happen in Milwaukee. And they've said about that was supposed to happen in July. They're like, oh, no, we're going to do it in August now. It's like, oh, why are you delaying it? Oh, because there's a plague. Oh, if there's a plague, then wouldn't we also be considered about the primary that's happening this week?
Yeah.
Like, if that's a public health thing that we need to take a proactive measure on, wouldn't we think about maybe delaying this thing that everyone else has delayed? And so the game of chicken lasted until people within the Wisconsin Democratic Party were like revolting against the governor. The governor finally relents on Friday and says, all right, we're going to get the Republicans in here and we're going to try and delay it. The Republicans decide we're not going to make it easy for you because they hate each other. And so they decide not to come into a special session to delay the primary. So the governor then tries to delay it via an executive order. That winds up getting rejected by a state court, which had we've actually seen a couple of different precedents in this whole situation where the Ohio governor tried to do this via executive order, and his state said that they didn't feel comfortable basically allowing a governor to just by his own decree delay an election.
Yeah.
And so the same thing happened in Wisconsin. And to add insult to injury, one of the other things that they were set to do was basically move back the absentee ballot window.
Yeah.
So you'd be able to send an absentee ballot later. And the U.S. Supreme Court rejected that. And so now everything basically goes back to square one. There is going to be, is currently right now, as we speak, throughout Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Madison, there are people out there at physical polling stations during a shelter-at-home order. And if you didn't get a mail-in ballot, you ain't going to get one now. If you do have one, you better not sit on it. Get it into the mail. Postmarked today.
Okay, so I also heard there was something about they were limiting the number of polling stations, or there was a limit on the number of polling stations given the breakout.
So running a polling station is a volunteer position, and a lot of volunteers said, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that."
Wow.
I come in contact with a few hundred people. No thanks.
Yeah, I'd prefer to not be in close contact with a bunch of strangers during a pandemic. So
volunteers limited the number of polling stations.
So it's like, but deuces. I'm going to go ahead and catch this Tiger King I've been hearing so much about. But the people that are now staffing some of them, or at least this was the report last week, is the National Guard. The National Guard has been called in to run polling stations.
Wow. That's a weird thing. Okay, so if looking at this from some bird's eye view, is there any current generally accepted thinking about who this hurts or who this helps? Like, is this strategy on either part of those who want delay and those who got their way, which is now forcing it to happen today? Do either of those benefit in some specific way because they chose to do this in terms of how many votes will get cast or who will get elected?
I am not sure. I think that you can pretty much, book the under in terms of voter turnout. I think it's going to be a low voter turnout.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that state. The state court position is theoretically supposed to be nonpartisan, but it is anything but, at least now. I don't know exactly what the voting is going to be on that. You would suspect it would be less than whatever happens in the Biden-Bernie primary. And I don't know enough about the Milwaukee governor, but look, this is a fiasco. Nobody really wants this. It's just a byproduct of how cutthroat Wisconsin politics has gotten, and the fact that both sides thought the other one was going to blink, and either did, and now both have endangered their citizenry, and both should be shamed.
Yeah, I feel like the whole thing is just, I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I mean, it feels like my natural inclination would be, well, mail-in voting is now your option. I know not everybody likes that or wants to do that or thinks it's too easy or whatever. But I still think that would be the right thing to do in this situation, given.
Well, sure. No. And there was a gigantic push to do that.
Yeah.
There was a gigantic public information push from local media to letting people know how they could get their ballot. And there were a lot more ballots printed. The problem is, and this is something that we talked about on the PX3 show 2 weeks ago or last week with Eric Geller of Politico.
Yeah.
You can't just, like, this isn't the same as going down to Kinko's and just running off a bunch of copies. Mail ballot the law around mail-in ballots requires a certain amount of production and oversight, and you can't just spin that up in a weekend. Like this takes time, money, and effort based on the laws that we have laid out, so the citizens can feel safe that their vote is counted and isn't thrown away. There's for everybody who wants to talk about like, oh, we should do national vote by mail, and maybe we should, but let's understand that this is not just a switch we can flip. People aren't this isn't not happening because of lack of effort. It's going to take a lot of a concerted movement by the powers that be to make this happen.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why you hear talk, the pushes for delays, not so much just voting from home initiatives 100%, because you can't just turnkey that on during a 3-week period where everything's changing by the hour. Like, you just can't suddenly go, okay, well, let's go into full production on the concept of mail-in votes. But I think as a general concept, this sort of thing would have been great to have as a backup plan in places like Wisconsin. But I guess if they're so divided,
I think what we're seeing across the board is that nobody expects the Spanish influenza, right? Like there's backup plans, and then there's this.
Yeah.
And what we're facing right now is beyond even conservative backup plans. Now, maybe this redefines what we understand as a conservative backup plan, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe that makes us think more along the lines of like, okay, well, what if catastrophic things happen? Because this is a catastrophic thing on a level that we haven't had in over 100 years.
Yeah.
So maybe we do think more along those lines going forward. But for right now, there's just, there's nothing that we could have compared this to.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious to see how it ends up tonight. And to me, it seems like if there's an advantage to one party over the other during this in Wisconsin today, it will come down to this weird concept that Democrats are more likely to brave the storm and go out and vote, or Republicans are more likely to brave the storm and go out and vote. That's a weird metric, That's a weird.
Well, I mean, the question is exactly how many Republicans are going out when the most famous thing on the ballot is Bernie Biden, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not something that's going to necessarily attract. Now, maybe I don't know if Trump's on the ballot too, but maybe there is that push to also go out there and record one for the president. But in general, the most famous thing that's there is Bernie Biden, and Biden was leading.
Yeah.
This is a very weird situation now where, oddly, Bernie should be facing a lot more pressure to get out, but you can't really put a lot of pressure when we're kind of frozen in ice.
Yeah, the stuff that's normally the natural pressure points aren't happening in the way that they're supposed to. There isn't that flow you were talking about earlier, the killing fields of the political process, where we would have known by New Hampshire how things were probably going to be done, and now, I kind of can't. There are a lot of people mad at Bernie for not bowing out at this point officially, and there are other people who are mad that that Biden is the presumptive winner, and so you have those two factions. But it's just more complicated now because we don't really have the public exposure of that stuff, so we don't really know what they're thinking. Like, we get tweets. Okay, cool. Thanks, Biden. Nice to know you're thinking.
No, Biden's in his basement being old as hell, talking about doomsday like the Crypt Keeper.
It is a little like that. It's a little like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I couldn't stop laughing when I thought of that yesterday. We were playing just Biden talking over the Crypt Keeper puppet's mouth moving.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Well, okay. Final note here. The press briefings that have been happening every day. I shared a tweet with you the other day about a push to get reporters to ask harder questions, to demand actual data.
It's always fun when every once in a while I just get this like beehive thrown into my lap randomly by Scott. Just, hey, here's an incendiary political tweet. I wonder what @JustinRYoung thinks.
Well, okay, so just from my point of view, just so I can get this out there, my thinking when I do stuff like that, and in this one in particular, was that you have talked in the past about, gosh, I wish those reporters had asked better questions, or I wish
yes.
we'd quit softballing this or saying this or whatever. I'd like to get actual data. And so when I saw that other thing, I went, oh, this is kind of talking about that. I wonder what his take would be. So it was nothing more than that. It wasn't like, hey, Justin, check out this grenade. Is there a pin in it? I don't know. Like, it wasn't like that. That wasn't my intent anyway. But a bunch of people jumped in on it, and that I always forget that people are going to do that. But anyway, your take on that though is interesting to me. So what do you think of all that? Because right now it feels like nobody's doing hard follow-up. Nobody's doing questions that get us actual data or plans or any of that. It's just a lot of...
No, there are, and I don't want to malign the White House press corps as a totality. My problem with the press briefings, and I've seen a lot of them. I have not seen all of them. I do try to watch at least some of them every day, just to kind of get a beat on it. At a certain point, the questions become repetitious, and I kind of lose patience on it. But here's what I hate. We'll talk about what I hate, and then I'll suggest what should replace it. I hate, Mr. President, if you were to rate your response from January to February as a Ninja Turtle, what Ninja Turtle would it be? Because yesterday you said it was Leonardo, and today President Obama's former Health and Human Services Secretary said it was at best a bebop and likely a Krang. Your thoughts? Like, I hate. How would you rate your response? Mm-hmm. What do you think people should take from this? I hate all of those questions. What I want, and what they genuinely, I believe, have access to, because if there's one thing that I do think is helpful with these, is that it's not just the president up there. There are other experts, there are other people, and they have largely been willing to give logistics, and that's just what they're willing to say on television.
Right.
There's also the chance that you can start a conversation and then get more information behind the scenes. What I want to see is a few more second level scientific questions, especially to Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci. I thought that it was an embarrassment when they first brought those models and tried to explain what the models were, and they were just like absolute rudimentary, like where does line go kind of questions from the press. And obviously you want to explain it to the audience as basically as possible, but I felt that it showed the fact that we didn't really have a whole lot of people in there that have any kind of science background, which, by the way, they're not built for that.
Right.
The reason why we get these rate yourself as a Ninja Turtle questions is because that's normally what politics journalism is, right? It's somebody says the thing, somebody else reacts to the thing, and now we've all filled our bylines for 2 days in a row.
Right.
Like that's kind of what that game is. But the biggest thing that I want now is I want logistical pipeline questions. I want to know how many. I thought the most illuminating press conference that we've had in a while was when it did get to focusing on ventilators, PPE, and drugs. And it I forget who it was, either the guy at Health and Human Services or FEMA, that was talking about how the way that we're handling the logistics is for the United States federal government to buy stuff, and then we give them to these wholesaling companies effectively that then supply the hospitals. And initially you're like, wait, what? Why are we just giving free product to other companies so they can sell these products to hospitals? And then you think about it for a second, and I thought they did an incredible job of doing it on why we do that. It's because they already have these relationships. They already know where the hospitals are. They already know in what orders they normally order in. They already have warehouses by the hospitals and trucks and drivers that go on daily routes to these areas. So it does make sense. Now, here's what I want to know. How many are we buying of everything? Which warehouses are they going to? Which wholesalers are they going to? From the wholesalers, where are they going? Which regions, at the very least, if not states, if not hospitals, are these products going? I think that there is a tremendous issue a tremendous benefit that the press can provide right now in terms of understanding where these are going, not only for keeping the federal government honest about the promises they've made, not only for keeping the wholesalers honest, for being effectively a wing of the government in this crisis, but also to keep the hospitals, in line. I had somebody call into my show on Friday saying that, out of, be it fear, panic, or greed, there are things that go missing from hospitals, to the point where the nurse that called into my show said her state had to set up a PPE czar that basically would make sure that only 12 hours at a time worth of stuff was always delivered to the hospital, because if they gave more than that, then it would start getting stolen. Wow. So it's like there's a benefit to the press here.
Yeah.
And I would so much rather that. I would so much rather incremental, granular updates on stuff like that than I would the kind of questions that we've gotten. And so to the tweet that you sent me on Sunday, if what we're really asking for is somebody else to shout louder what Ninja Turtle he is, then no, I don't think that that's helpful.
Yeah, I don't either.
What I would like is for, at this point, we use these press briefings as wringing as much information out of the federal government as we possibly can. And to be totally honest, at least for right now, that means steering away from the cult of personality around the president.
Yeah, it's such a tempting little fruit, though, isn't it? I worry that because what you're asking for, 100% agree with. That is what I want out of these things, and if that was happening, I would listen to more of them. I admit there have been a couple times where I was like, all right, that guy, he said a thing and knew a thing or whatever. But as soon as those reporters start talking, they go down that road, and I'm just like, this is not helpful. This just isn't good. It's just weird. He's already weird. Now you're making him be weirder, and you're not really asking real questions. And maybe he doesn't know the answer to those questions. He probably doesn't, to the kind you're asking.
The one thing that I will give him credit for is that he has now just gotten to the point where he has burnt his hand on the talking about things out of his ass medically stove so many times over the last week or so that now whenever somebody starts talking about a medical question, he actually has a move where he actually it actually looks like he's rugby tossing a rugby ball to either Fauci or Birx.
Yeah.
He just does this double move that arms up thing, and that's good.
It is good. That is good.
I want him to, because him and Pence, they're going to give politician answers.
Right.
They're politicians.
Yeah.
That's the answer that they're going to give. You talk to Dr. Birch, Dr. Fauci, they're going to give doctor answers or science educator answers more appropriately.
Yeah.
If you talk to the military people, they're going to give military answers. These are things that I think as a reporter, it is incumbent upon you to know. The problem is that so much of our again, the political media is based on that drama.
Right.
It's based on the I don't want to say gotcha, because gotcha is a loaded term, but it's based on can we get them to say the thing?
Right.
And then we can take that thing and bring it to somebody else and say, hey, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Donald Trump said the thing, and then they're going to say the thing that then they bring back to Trump, and they'd say to Trump, hey, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they said the thing, and then he says the thing back. And, the Washington Post and Politico and The Hill and Axios stay in business. Right. This is, and I'm sounding flippant about it, but in general, that's the arena that I've entered in. It's the arena that I love. I love listening to that kind of stuff normally.
Right.
It's just that now we're not in normal times.
Right. I'm with you there. I did think it was. I mean, if I'm going to have any commentary about any of these things, I did get a kick out of him not being able to wrap his head around that Asian girl might have been working for an independent news organization and not the Chinese government, and he could not let it go. That just cracked me up. And also,
yeah, I only saw that over Twitter.
Was that from yesterday's?
I think it was yesterday's. Yeah, he just could not. He just could not get over it. He's like, "You work for China. You work for China." Or she's like, "No, we're independent."
I mean, look, I've been on a China thing lately.
Yeah,
and I've always been a China, and I'm talking about effectively the party, the Chinese Communist Party that runs an autocratic empire.
Sure.
Over 1 billion people. I've always been a skeptic of them. I think that we have every country has a responsibility to be as truthful as they possibly can be in this scenario.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that means for us, it means our press being as ferocious as possible. But when it comes to us interrogating our numbers, interrogating our response, interrogating every inch of what is being reported and what isn't being reported. I think that that's the same abroad for a lot of the Western democracies. It was eye-opening to me that apparently both France and Italy are only the death tolls that you see from there are only people that have died in hospitals and have been tested. They're not counting anybody who's died in their home or in nursing homes, for example, which is why we saw a massive spike in France last week because they reported all of those numbers at once. And most notably, it means that a country with 1 billion people where this started, that we take a very critical eye at the fact that according to their numbers, they have the lowest fatality rate per million people. 2. That is better than South Korea, which has universally been understood to be the gold standard here.
Yeah.
That had 3 die per million. And, that they apparently haven't reported a new death in a while.
Yeah.
Like, it is, that to me is on one level laughable, but on the other level, it's very, very serious because the only thing that helps us is truth. The only thing that helps us, and there's truth that we can't know or find. There's, testing obviously is not something that isn't. You can't just do it by crossing your fingers behind your back and finding out whether or not you have COVID. Right? It takes a test and a lab, and these things have certain variables and reliabilities. I think every country, it is incumbent upon them to test as much as possible. I think that we have tested a lot, but we need to test a lot more if we want to get to a point where we can be much more confident about exactly where this is. Nobody knows what China's doing.
Yeah, no,
nobody knows.
I don't trust the Chinese government. Yeah, I don't trust their numbers. I never have. My whole point was this is somebody who had approved press credentials at the White House press corps, who he could not get over the fact there was Asian and therefore you must work for the Chinese government. That to me seemed a little much. I get not trusting China. I don't get.
Well, I think the question then is whether or not she is for a state party, which I saw different things on Twitter about whether or not she was, but I don't know. I mean, again, it's like there are those elements where I think it's like, all right, well, hey, let's the president is somebody that has built part of his empire, on the fact that he is a mockable figure.
Right.
He built a name on the fact that people were able to laugh at him, and that's always going to be a part of who he is, like it or not, think it's presidential or not. I would probably err on the side of not presidential by the way that I, traditionally defined presidents.
Yeah.
But that's who he is. And right now, to me, I think that there are a lot of other questions that I think could be asked and should be asked. And with understanding and respect to people in the White House press corps, this is a hard time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure, not only for them right now, but also the fact that they're rotating people in and out because of social distancing. And this is a competitive field. It's a naturally competitive field when you're at that level. Everybody wants the same stories, and there's only so many to go around. So if you screw up, if you don't do your job, then not only are you a failure to your boss, you're a failure within this very insular society. So I get it. But yeah, those are things that I just wish we were getting more granular logistical information.
Yeah, I do too. Hey, when you were working on your journalism degree, did you ever see yourself in like a White House press corps kind of thing? Was that ever like an option, or not an option, but like a goal? Yeah.
A goal, yeah.
You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go to war zones.
Oh wow, I can see that.
That's what I wanted to do. And then I decided to, do sketch comedy, which shows what a pussy I am. Like,
well, you could do USO tours in war-torn countries, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. That's fine. No, I mean, that was initially what I wanted to do, but also it's like in journalism, you kind of go where, especially at that level, at that point, you kind of went where the jobs were.
Right.
And by the way, jobs that are going away, the Cleveland Plain Dealer just shut down today.
Oh, geez.
Ohio's the largest newspaper.
Wow.
Just shut down today.
Holy crap.
Before you ask, yes, I did do an install there.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's therefore it hits closer to home because you were there.
Now,
kind of, yeah.
Now, whether or not we are going to see another version of it, apparently the company that owns it has also been grooming their Cleveland.com staff, so maybe they're going to write the paper now. But winter is here for a lot of these old media entities. And basically, I decided to get out of journalism right before they started crumbling.
Yeah.
Like, I got out of newspapers at the time, because I wanted to try comedy, but the other side was I didn't want to spend 15 years sitting behind a bunch of people that had fat contracts that the newspapers were clinging onto. I thought that I would just be doing an entry-level job for 10 years. Now, that didn't happen. All my friends that went into journalism around my time was right when all the big buyouts happened. And so they wound up like getting fast-tracked to like super high positions immediately.
Yeah.
But they're also insanely talented and deserved it. Now we're kind of at the end, because advertising's drying up, and when you look at newspaper and local television too, how many ads in both those mediums are car ads? And then think to yourself, how many people are buying a car right now?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do wonder about that. You see a car ad, or actually, I'm so much more mindful of that stuff now. I'll see an ad for something that's just like totally not for a pandemic.
Irrelevant.
Time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What would you buy that right now for?
Right. And the internet is a little more agile that way. I mean, all my Instagram feed, when I flip through it, it's just face mask after face mask after face mask ads. Probably some of those less than reputable, but it's, at least it can turn on a dime. It feels like maybe we're at a turning point for that, and whatever ad money stays will stay on the internet, and maybe more papers.
Well, I think
away.
the internet's a different story. There's obviously a lot more granularity that you can have. There's a lot more internet. The internet tends to focus on internet-centric products, right? Which don't need to be dependent on anything but the mail.
Yeah.
So as long as the mail's running, then you should be okay with whatever mattress or plant or dog toy or boner pill that you're going to get in the mail. But everything else that's physical, that is a different story, and winter is here for a lot of these old media.
Yeah, it's weird times. But it's always, I feel good that you can come on here and bring us some of this good content and commentary about the world of coverage of the political scene. And it's the weirdness that is a political scene happening right smack in the middle of a modern plague. Justin, any projects you're working on this week people should be checking out and make sure they listen to or watch?
Yeah, obviously, if you like the politics talk, then come on over to my Twitch channel. In fact, it's going to start right after TMS. That is twitch.tv/Justin R. Young, and you can find my podcast, Politics, available everywhere that you get podcasts.
That sounds great. Justin Robert Young, everybody. Justin R. Young on Twitter. Take it easy. And bye. All right. I was going to ask him. He says he's gained a bunch of weight, but I can't tell looking at him. He looks fine.
Oh, I see it.
First thing Brian noticed.
I was like, oh, look at that. We got a giant panda on. Oh, and it's Justin.
Oh, it's one of those mating giant pandas we've heard so much about today.
No, he looks great.
He looks great, yeah.
He's a not big fat liar is what he is.
No, for sure. All right, got a quick email from Logan Murray, who wrote in and said, "Hi, Scott and Brian. I've been a longtime Frog Pants listener, and this is the first time I've written in. I'm lucky enough to have a career that is very resilient to global disasters." He's in satellite communication. "And so while folks across the country lose their job, I've been able to maintain a relatively normal life, daily life," he says. "I say this because recently I stumbled upon a story online about how a small video game store owner in my hometown of Denver, Colorado is doing everything in their power to continue paying their employees while the business is collapsing around them. Reading stories all day about how businesses are closing, people losing their job, our government being inept, it's refreshing to hear some good news about folks trying to do their best. I wanted to play my part and get this store's name out into the tadpole. They apparently have an online store which they're using to try to stay afloat. I wanted to send the message that they are doing the right thing during these hard times and can and should be rewarded. Thanks so much for all you do. Appreciate you guys for the many, many hours of laughs and companionship over the years. Stay safe." And he gave me a link to it. It is level7games.com. Mm-hmm. And I'm going there now so I can show it to the chat.
Number 7.
Yeah, the number 7. Level7games.com. And they're doing, oh yeah, look at all this. They've got a big COVID message. They're doing shipping, free shipping for all orders over 75. You don't see stores like this much anymore. Have you been to this, by the way, in your area?
No, it's funny because I know exactly where it is, and I've seen they have a really cool mural on the side.
Mm-hmm.
They're on Alameda, right across from a hybrid restaurant called the Asian Cajun.
Yeah,
the Asian Cajun, and which is really good, by the way.
Yeah.
And I've seen sat in that restaurant, looked over, and said, "Oh, there's a video game place over there. I might have to check that out sometime." And they have a really cool mural on the side, but I've never been in there. And as soon as the lockdown is lifted, this is a place I want to definitely check out. They've got a lot of, they're big on the Magic the Gathering. They've got again, when we're all able to start getting together again, they've got board game space in the place where you can go and play games. They sell a lot of video games, a lot of accessories, and it looks like a really cool place.
Yeah, I'm digging through their stuff right now. I think I may pick something up here. If any of you out there are in the market for some game stuff, accessories, they've got PS4, Switch, Xbox One, gift cards. They've got shop accessories like Sega accessories, Xbox accessories, PlayStation stuff, headsets, Magic the Gathering stuff, board games. Go check them out and see if there's something you're not in the mood for. Skip Amazon and go right to here. It's level7games.com. Level in the 7 is not spelled out. It's just the number 7, games.com. And here, I'll put it in the chat too so you guys have it. Those at home, maybe think about supporting these guys. And I appreciate Logan for letting us know. That's awesome.
Totally. Yeah.
If you guys have got something like that around your hometown and they're just trying to make it happen, and they've got a website that we could all help with or support somehow, feel free to send those in. We'd be happy to mention those as well.
For sure. And the fact that they're, even though they're employees are furloughed right now, the fact that they're still paying them, trying to do everything they can to keep paying them, is fantastic. And so whatever you can do to help these guys as well,
that's great.
Really good thing.
Yep, I know Dunaway just picked up Civilization because it was cheap. It's cheap there too. They've got Civ 6 on the Switch for only $20. Worth it.
Oh wow,
worth it.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good pickup right there.
Worth it. All right, let's take our leave. A reminder, today is a busy day in the Frog Pants world. The instance is on Tuesdays now, and that starts in about an hour and a half from now. So if you want to catch that, you can certainly hang around or come back and check back in about an hour and a half from now, and we will do a show all about World of Warcraft and other things going on at Blizzard. That's the instance today. Details at theinstance.net. Patreon.com/TMS is how you support this show. Big thanks to everybody who has continued to support us. Those who can't, we get it, but those who have stepped up in their place, we really appreciate you. It's kind of how it works. There's some who just can't in these times, and there are others who've been able to step into those shoes and say, well, I'm in a position where I can, so I'm going to make up the difference. It does make a difference. It keeps us afloat, keeps us happening. So thank you. Patreon.com/TMS is that link. You can also find everything else you may be looking for, ways to contact us, send us messages, voicemails, all that stuff over at frogpants.com/TMS as usual. All right, Brian, Let's play a song on our way out the door.
Will do. And also wanted to throw it, since we're talking about helping folks out who are struggling right now, small businesses. Local business and a friend of mine runs a gourmet chocolate shop in Georgetown, Colorado, is doing free delivery of Easter baskets, like custom Easter baskets. So you don't have to take your kids out and potentially get exposed to the virus. You can get Easter baskets delivered doorstep and contactless delivery. shopgvcc.com.
That's awesome. Very cool.
He's a friend of mine, and he's a really, really cool guy. And they make the most amazing chocolates and hard candies and ice cream and stuff like that. So
all good.
shopgvcc.com. Okay, let's get to the request.
All right.
This comes to us from Corey Davis, who's online as Davy Chorus in our chat room. No special occasion for the request. The Dolly Rots included this great cover as a B-side on their most recent single, and I just want to share it with everyone. And maybe the title of the